Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul and Grace podcast. One of the last few episodes of the year. I'm not sure when this one will be released, but gather on in. How y'all doing today? I'm doing good too. I'm doing just peachy. I'm super excited for 2026, so I'm just like counting down the days, currently getting ready for buffet day, aka Thanksgiving. Yeah, buffet day. We're just creating our own meanings to the holidays since so many of them have really terrible histories and meanings behind them created by terrible people. But nonetheless, yeah, getting ready for buffet day. I hope everyone's doing okay, and maybe you're feeling excited about Thanksgiving. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're excited just to rest. I know I am. And as always, we usually start off with a self-love card. So let's go ahead and hop into that. Now, since we are at the end of the year, let's just reflect on the past. Why not? If you're new here, this is my self-love deck. It was created by a company that has another great game. I'm looking over here because I have the box. Actually, I have the box right here. One second. This is We're Not Really Strangers. I believe that's the name of the company. Yeah, We're Not Really Strangers. They also created this self-love deck. This is a really great game to play with people you want to get to know. I've played it with people over text too. Like when the conversation get dead, let me ask you something crazy. It's not really crazy questions, but let me ask you something so we can change the subject and talk about random things. This is a self-love deck. Ooh, focus. Pink, light pink box. And there are 3 decks of cards, and it goes past, present, and the future. So we're going to reflect on the past and pull from past, which is level 1. Oop, fell right out of my hand. What do you no longer need? As we are getting closer to closing out 2025, I feel like I no longer need fillers in my life, whether that's people, whether that's just doing things that I don't want to say things that don't serve me, because I feel like that's just, I constantly bring this up because that's where I am in my self-discovery and journey of self. Like I'm just at a point where I would like all things that are simply just fillers to my life out of it. Like I feel like I'm on a path of where, like a bowling alley lane, like where you have when you bowl with people like kids and stuff and it has the bumpers. I don't need any more bumpers in my life. I don't need any more. I don't need any more fillers. What's the point? What's the point of interacting with people, places, and things that I know are just like there's no point of interacting with it? I would just say I no longer need the fillers in my life. I only want to attract and live by and interact with the things that honestly fulfill me, not the things that just distract me and keep me entertained temporarily. Why live like that when I can live a life of full on satisfaction from things that I actually want, or people that I actually want to be around, things that I actually want to do? Why am I playing with everything like a test subject? Like I just don't need that. No more fillers. That's what I don't need any longer. Yeah. And for the gotta have it, honestly, I don't really have a gotta have it for this episode. Like I said, we're approaching winter. So more than anything, I guess that gotta have it for this episode would be make sure you stand on top of your supplements and herbs and things to avoid all of the seasonal illnesses, seasonal depression, all of the things. So you want to avoid seasonal depression, make sure you're taking your vitamin D. Make sure you're taking your Damiana. I'm going to have to dedicate one episode to my girl Damiana because it's just so amazing and great for the mood, great for your body, overall your mood, and it will keep you sane and all the things. I've talked about it in many episodes, but vitamin D, vitamin C, all of those things, Moringa, that's amazing too. For all of, if you just want something that helps the body with everything from seasonal depression to immunity, all the things, take that. And then for the herbs, your mullein, your nettle, freaking clove tea, amazing. Just amazing. All the things. I really am gonna put together a episode. I've been working on my list of, or really it's like a mini ebook or something, but it'll go on my website for free because all of those are like resources. And surprisingly, on my doula site, I don't necessarily have like my resources or anything up. So I'm trying to work on that. Oh, little dust flying in the air. I'm trying to gather all of those things together. But yeah, for the Gotta Have It, make sure you are staying on top of all of your seasonal supplements that keep you protected from seasonal depression and seasonal illnesses. Today's episode is one that I've been sitting on for a while because it touches all of us, including myself. And it's just something that I feel most of us don't talk about, but a lot of us don't realize it plays a major part in our self-discovery journey as well. As I have spent the last 2 years reflecting on a lot of things that I want to change to make more room and bring myself more time in life, it keeps coming up. And that is our relationship with convenience. We live in a time where almost everything is designed to be easier, faster, and more convenient. Food arrives at your door. Answers are instant because we all are on devices, I want to say electric watches, but your Apple watches. Everything is designed to be right at our fingertips. Entertainment never ends. Even connection is just a tap away. From social media platforms to dating platforms to, I don't know if you guys have ever used Meetup, but even just social platforms that are aimed towards community, everything is just a tap away. And yet many of us are still dealing with exhaustion. Many of us are still disconnected from our bodies. We're stimulated, anxious, and burnt out. Someone that mostly, how I describe it is 70% of me feels in control, and that other 30% of me feels like Jodeci. Time is slipping away from me. Today, I want to explore without shame or blame, okay? Because again, I'm in the thick of trying to understand these things for myself. How do we reclaim our well-being without rejecting modern life altogether? Because here we are, approaching 2026. Seems so crazy. I don't know why when I was younger I thought, it's not the year 3000, but I knew we would have flying cars or something of the sort. And they still working on that, We got the little jet ski cars, and we have the Teslas and this ugly ass I hope we're a couple of minutes in, but the ugly ass, not I backdoored it with another explicit word. The Tesla truck, the Cybertruck, that is the most hideous vehicle in the world. There's no way around technology and AI. Have I guess like a friend, they're like family friends at this point, who is in the tech world, and he's just constantly like, this is like what we see on our everyday level of technology is nothing. It's actually a lot bigger and way more advanced than we even can like imagine right now. But yeah, how do we reclaim our well-being without rejecting modern life together? Let's talk about it. And now you're gonna see me looking down. I say in every episode, I have to script my shows, and I script them from the information that I research, my own thoughts and opinions and all the things. A lot of times I am reading it off. There is no chat GPT or nothing. I don't want to miss any parts because these conversations matter the most. Let's go ahead and dive into Soul Search and discuss what modern convenience really means. When we think of convenience, we usually think of comfort, maybe even ease. Convenience today isn't just about saving time, it's about removing the friction to make it easier in our lives, or it should bring ease to our lives. When you think about it, we don't have to wait for many things. We don't have to prepare. We don't have to feel discomfort, and we don't have to listen to our bodies most of the time. Convenience has slowly trained us to outsource the effort, avoid stillness, and also numb discomfort, which when you numb the discomfort, mostly skipping the natural rhythms of how or what your body knows as performance or how to process everyday life. And here's the thing, effort isn't the enemy of well being. In many cases, it's the freaking foundation to everything. The structure, movement, cooking, creating, connecting with others face to face. These things require presence, and presence doesn't come from convenience. It doesn't. It doesn't. For myself, I think that's where I feel the lack of time or one of those things, because I'm not getting all of the time that I would like to be present with these different areas of my life. Now, cooking and stuff and all of those things, I do those because I understand that if I make a home cooked meal, that's gonna fulfill my, not only my body, like literally my mind, body, and soul, way more than going through the drive-thru or getting some takeout or something from the angry person that don't want to be at work today or had to cover somebody's shift or someone didn't show up, or just taking in that energy from other people, places, and things that we probably don't really consider, like, oh, I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't do this, because of the lack of intention and care and really love that went into it compared to cooking at home. But yeah, presence doesn't come from convenience. It comes from participation. Let's talk about the nervous system for a little bit. Our bodies evolved for slowness, physical movement, cycles of effort and rest, and natural pauses. As crazy as that sounds. The first example I think of is, how we have all of these iPad babies and TV babies and all the things existing right now. And what you'll hear older people say is it's okay for children to be bored. Boredom builds character, it builds curiosity, it builds a sense of exploration because you got to go find you something else to do. So while we've evolved for slowness and physical movement and cycles of effort and rest, modern convenience has created the constant stimulation from every aspect that you could think of. Endless scrolling, artificial urgency, because with the receipts, the everything, the social media, wanting to check and keep up with these influencers and people's lifestyles because they're friends with us or whatever. There's no true off switch. So how is that a convenience to your life? When everything is instant, the nervous system never gets a complete cycle. We don't digest experiences. We don't take time to relieve ourselves of the stress that is, or the stress that was caused, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. Instead, we eat quickly, we don't eat at the table, we don't eat sitting down, we get distracted constantly, we sleep poorly, and we wake up tired because we never took the time to reset ourselves. We just wake up and hop back on the hamster wheel and do it all over again. And before you know it, you look up and oh, Miss November. It's November and I never dealt with some stuff that made me or had me stressed out from February. Convenience keeps us functioning but not regulated. And over time, the dysregulation shows up in so many other forms, from brain fog to anger issues, maybe slight seasonal depression. That's not only during the winter, in case you were wondering. It's not gut issues, freaking anxiety, burnout, emotional numbness, especially when you are good at forgetting, or maybe not forgetting, but blocking out situations in the moment. And in the past, I always advise people, at least be careful with me and how we interact, because while I may forgive you, I will also forget you and move forward. And just looking back and thinking back on all the situations that I've done that, it's rare that I ever come back to it. I used to think that was just me making peace with the situation. Even if I don't talk to that person that might have done something. Sometimes you have to let people know what they did or how they did something and why it disturbed you, because if not, you still hold that maybe anger, or you hold that experience within. It might not come not excuse me, it might not be stressful, but you hold that experience within your soul almost. And when the next person does something like that, it all comes up in a way, maybe not where you can blame it on the first person that hurt you in that way, in the sense of, I know these are things that, or I know this is a action that I didn't like in the past, but I did not deal with it. So now it's just adding on to the frustrations of it when it comes up again. This isn't because we're doing life wrong. It's because our human design was not meant to live like this at all. We were not. Our human biology was not designed for this, or to handle these things, or to hold these things. If you continue to have brain fog, gut issues, deal with stress and emotion, and just be an emotional roller coaster, there's two things that come up. I'm 100% sure like you will run yourself into the ground, into a complete state of burnout and illness. But the other thing that comes up for me is, especially from the holistic point, is like it builds inflammation in the body, and it builds inflammation and mucus within like your brain. Your body can't handle that. That's how you end up with cancer. That's how you end up with lifelong illnesses, or whatever else, all these different things that, again, our body was not designed to handle. Here's a reframe that changed everything for me. Convenience is not care. Care might ask, what does my body need? What pace supports my nervous system? What actually nourishes me? And somebody's gonna be listening like, oh, that sounds a little too holistic for me. Take time to listen to your body and consider if something actually fulfills who you want to be and where you are now. Does it actually make you feel good? Does it require more or less energy than you would like to give to it? Really? Does it? And what does your body need is such a good question, because a lot of times it's not something we're doing on purpose. A lot of us are our bodies are operating, but because our bodies are full of so many things that I won't say should or should not be in your body. You're grown. Do whatever you want to do. Your body is numb, and your mind and body are not connected. So how can you hear your body and even think to question what does it need if you continue to put things into it, or even continue to put yourself in situations that cause you to numb who you are, how you feel, and even be able to hear what you need. Now, your body does not talk to you, but your organs and your brain, all of these things, like I tell my doula clients, it already knows what to do. When you are created from a tiny little embryo and everything starts to grow, these organs, they already know how to function. They already know what to do. For women especially women, it's like from a young age, so much. Life becomes about how we present, how we want to present, how to be perfect, all of these things. You are lucky if you have someone in your life, or you have a mother, you have aunts, you have anyone in your life that's telling you or advising you the opposite, or almost just making sure you only worry about the outside and not the inside. I went on a little tangent there, but you have to listen to your body. The common thing that comes up with being a doula is like, why are most women afraid to have children? Because they think that they have to push, they have to get their body ready for something, when in all actuality, you need to be healthy. You need to provide a safe and healthy environment for that embryo to grow into a healthy baby. But your uterus already knows what to do. The contractions are going to happen to push the baby out. The water breaks when it wants to. When we step in and interrupt the natural flow of the body with things, and I don't mean to talk about this too much, but all in all, our bodies already know what to do. It doesn't have a voice, but there are signs when you are not treating your body with care how you should treat it. Now, back to convenience versus care. Convenience asks, what's the fastest? what's the easiest? What requires least effort right now? And sometimes convenience is supportive, but when it comes but when you lose a little discernment over who you are. Care might even look like cooking even when takeout is easier, walking, creating, or taking a break instead of doom scrolling, or putting on Netflix or putting on something else to numb your mind from how you feel, where you want to be, and the things that you want to do. Not to say that, you can't be inspired by other media and things like that. Once you realize that it's a distraction from the actual task of building and getting to know yourself better, I think you'll look at it differently. Also, care might even look like saying no to saving time if it costs you your peace. Now, that's one of the things that I think I've just on my holistic journey, I don't necessarily struggle with as far as choosing in the moments where I am overstimulated, worked, and just needing a break. Yeah, the last thing I'm thinking about is creating, but I'm growing to learn that you still work against that feeling because that will bring a bigger hit of dopamine to your body because you're doing some stuff that you love, not tuning in to something else that someone else loved. And as a creative, that's the one thing that always snapped me out of it, or it takes me away from enjoying the show or something. It's like, damn, I done watched Insecure 3 times. I'm gonna watch it again and again and again. But the only reason this is inspirational to me is because Issa took her damn time and followed her dreams and did whatever to get where she needed to be to produce this show. And here we are. I can do the same thing if I just put aside the time for myself versus conveniently getting comfortable on the couch and watching another show and almost participating in somebody else's dream, which you could do both. You really can do both. I'm not saying do one or the other. I'm not trying to shame anyone for how they choose to use their time when they need just time to take a pause. If we just prioritize ourselves a little bit more, if we just had a little bit more interest in ourselves, maybe we'd realize that a lot of the things that we believe bring peace, comfort, and convenience to our life, we'd realize, ooh, that's not necessarily true for all of the things. Care requires intention, and you have to intentionally be ready to want to put yourself first too. Convenience requires nothing. Maybe it requires seeking, the app, the platform, the things or whatever. But when you really think about it, it doesn't really require anything. And that's the true danger to convenience. Now, to make things more practical, modern convenience often shows up as eating disconnected from hunger cues. We got a lot of good food here in America, all around us. Whatever you need, it's there. Maybe you just consider following a recipe to make that same exact thing. It might even be better than going to the restaurant. I know lately that's just been, I'm not sure if it's just the current climate, the trendy restaurants, all the things. My food, for the most part, has been better than majority of the food I've had in restaurants. I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's just the experience. It's actually, maybe I do know what it's about. It's just simply, well, if you love cooking. But I love following, the instructions. I love watching the cooking shows. And I know that's not everyone's things. There's peace in that for me. Modern convenience often shows up as eating disconnected from hunger cues. You're just snacking all day. You're just snacking all dang day. Consuming content instead of creating meaning under everybody comment section. Liking and reposting everybody's stuff. What about you? Using productivity to avoid rest. It is okay to rest. It's okay to be bored. The other thing I want to point out is sometimes when you don't have anything to do, it feels uncomfortable. Just sit in that being uncomfortable and just hang out there. That's something I'm learning to do. I'm working on it. I can't necessarily say I'm the best at it, but yeah, it's okay not to be productive some days. Filling silence with noise. And lastly, avoiding emotional processing. Sit with that shit. Sit with it. Sit with it and think about how it made you feel. Whether that's journaling, sitting up and recording yourself, talking to the camera, whatever it is, stop moving past stuff too fast. Stop that, because when you move past it, it's almost a disservice to yourself of like, do you even care about yourself? Do you whatever, sit however things make you feel, because it's important so that you can make sure it never happens again, so you can make sure people never treat you a certain way again. Pay attention to your emotions. Stop blocking them out. As a gardener, hey, maybe you're going to garden and journal. You're going to put it all out there, whatever, get it all out. Get it all out your system so that you don't carry it into the next day and so you don't carry it into the future for yourself. And the future is like tomorrow or next week, the weekend, because we really do withhold the trauma and pain and all of the emotions, and they literally store in our body and in our bones and our muscles and our, like, the muscle memory is crazy of the emotions, or being able to block it out and stick it in the back of your mind. It's still there. And you're still hurting, sad, happy about it, frustrated, whatever it is. Stop avoiding the emotional processing. We are not lazy. We're overstimulated. We're overstimulated because the world is constantly telling us what to do, how to be better, things we can change, and all of the things. And if you are already in a state of stress, you're going to be unmotivated. You're going to be dysregulated. And when we rely on convenience to manage these discomforts, we lose our tolerance for boredom, rest, slowness, presence, and depth. All the people you be coming across that's just like short-tempered. I feel like everyone just on edge right now. Everyone, no matter what it is. So often I'm like in the store and I'll just be minding my business. I'm just super friendly and a social butterfly. I don't really care. So often people are like, I'm so glad, like, you said something to me or you did whatever, because that one, the power of just like connecting, it will shift the energy. It shifts the energy for you and that person, really. The one thing about having a tolerance for boredom, slowness, depth, and presence is this is like the space where healing happens. This is a space of, if I'm just chilling and not trying to distract myself with something else, I can actually process a little bit what it might be, what's bothering me, what can I do better. I can use that space and mental clarity to think of new things, new ideas, new concepts, and new feelings. I could use that to be progressive with building my future self. Yeah. That is the space where healing happens. And sometimes you gotta cry. You just gotta cry. Something about crying, the water releasing that fluid from your body, it just feels good every time. It just feels good every time. Let's go ahead and hop into Queen, where we will discuss reclaiming our well-being while also still surviving and being a part of modern life. Also, without trying to present as something that we may not be, because again, yes, you can journal, you can breathe, you could do yoga, you can do all of these things. Those actions are good for your well-being, but they are not the solution. It's not you sitting down and being real with yourself and being able to process stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into Queen. As we walk into the end of the show and get into Queen, I just want to remind you that this episode isn't an episode about, or it isn't meant to make you want to go off grid or delete all your social media or even stop eating out. That's not my point. That's not the purpose of it. I don't even want to shame you for what you're doing. On Soul and Grace, we are discussing just getting or better yet, becoming better and loving ourselves through everything. Having the grace for where we are now and our future self, because there will be, more self-evaluations along the journey. It's all about intentional friction. Ask yourself, where could I allow things to take longer? I don't know. It don't have to take longer. At least slow down. Where could I slow down in my life? What things can I slow down with? Where could I choose presence over speed? Where could I let my body lead instead of my schedule? I am someone who does not function well with strict structure. I need a lot of flexibility, actually. I need a lot of flexibility, but I have the structure in what matters. That's what works out for me. I need a little bit of flexibility. If I don't have it, I'm less likely to follow through. Now, I function best with structure where I mostly need it, but I need a lot of flexibility because structure is really hard to commit to sometimes. But also, I've made sure that my world is built around that. My life is built around that, and the people in it can almost accept that. I will not sit up here and say I'm by the book with everything, because I am not. The one thing I will say is I take care of my business so that I can afford that luxury of flexibility whenever I want to throw it in there. Start small. Maybe that's a mindful meal a day. Maybe that's just making sure you eat breakfast or whatever, making sure you eat dinner, making sure you make lunch for yourself for the day or for work or something like that, instead of going through the drive-through on your lunch break. One tech-free morning, or even a new morning ritual, whether that's waking up earlier, whether that's going to the gym, whether that's just waking up to breathe. And what I mean waking up to breathe, I don't mean by like meditating or anything like that, but simply like just waking up a little bit earlier so you can only think about yourself for an hour, 30 minutes, or whatever before you hop into your day of showing up for everything else, or even yourself, showing up for everything and everybody else before you can pour into yourself. Maybe it's a walk without headphones so that you can hear nature and stuff. I know it's hard. I can't say that I do that a lot. On the occasion, I will. On the occasion, I will take a walk without my headphones or something. It's nice, it's nice. You can say hi to people, but it's also nice to just hear nature, hear the trees, hear the birds, hear the pond or river if you live by one like me or something like that. But just actually listening to other sounds that are not making you want other things, making you want to go out, making you want to think about things, listening to audiobooks that have you in the mode of in a constant state of self-help, where you're just thinking of ways to make yourself better. You have to take a break with that. That's something I learned this year. Too much self-help can be harmful, I believe, because then you just, not only are you constantly trying to change yourself, you miss so much of the life and everyday experience. So you miss so much of the little details that go into bettering yourself or figuring out what self really needs and wants, because you're trying to abide by the rules that Mel Robbins told you. Like you're too busy trying to follow and pinpoint every little thing to make sure that you are perfect in every little step you take to essentially meet who or where you want to be. So yeah, one walk without headphones and one intentional pause before reacting. I naturally just try not to react. But again, we're in a state, not in a state, but we're in a space where a lot of people are on edge for their own personal reasons. We all have different things going on in our lives and happening to us and around us and happening for us and again to us, because sometimes it feels like shit is just happening to us. Pause before reacting. Really ask yourself, do you need to react? Because a lot of times, most of the responses and things we get from people are not purposely. Everybody has things going on, and it's not that they need to explain it or express those things. Take a second and pause before you react or respond to anything, because does it really deserve your energy? Does it? Probably not. Well-being doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less, but doing less more consciously. Just being more considerate, not just with yourself, but just with life. Be more considerate. As we walk into the end of the show, I want to remind you of this. Your body doesn't want convenience. Your body wants consistency, rhythm, safety, and care. Take time to love on your body. Take time to care for yourself. Prioritize that over anything else, any other distractions that could come about. Your body needs care, routine, a little routine. If you're someone like me, a little routine will go get you really far. You're not behind. You are not broken. You are responding normally to an unnatural and abnormal pace. While I'm reworking my relationship with convenience, I ask that you reflect on one question for yourself. Where has convenience replaced connection in your life? I'm not judging you, because I'm on the same journey of analyzing how to be better at everything, better at taking care of myself and all the things, and convenience is something that we need to reflect on. No judgment, just awareness, no judgment, just awareness. Are the things in your life bringing you actual convenience, or are they distracting you and disguised as convenience? Are these things affording you more time? Are these things making you feel good? When you go to sleep at night, are you sleeping well? Are you satisfied with where your life is at right now? If not, think about that. That's all I have for this episode. True ease comes from alignment, not from convenience or shortcuts, but from alignment. Do the things or the way that you are living, the people a part of your life, the small conveniences that you currently have in your life, are they bringing you peace? Are they actually bringing you real convenience? That's all I have for this episode. Thanks for tuning in and being here. I'm your host, Danielle, and I will see you next week. Bye.